Hello and warm welcome everyone to today's masterclass on the mind restored and resilient. We are delighted to have you all here with us today. It's my privilege and honor to introduce our speaker for today, Mrs. Raji Iyengar. Raji Iyengar is the founding COO of Quantum Coherence Technologies and a technology industry veteran with over 37 years of leadership experience across India, APAC, and Japan. Having held senior roles with leading multinational organizations, she brings deep expertise in business leadership, strategic growth, and people development. An ardent practitioner of meditation and mindfulness for several years, Raji strongly believes that awareness intelligence is essential in the age of artificial intelligence. We welcome you, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha. Happy morning, wonderful afternoon, and a great evening to all. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for choosing to be here today. From anxiety to alignment, what we're going to do by the end of it is uninstall anxiety. So, as we were saying, there are different states as defined by NHS, NIMHANS in India, CDC in the US. As you can see, there are simple definitions. Sometimes this rolls into another. Today, we will talk about anxiety. Yeah? We're going to have different sessions on what stress is. But just to call out here, stress is more a response to pressure or demands. And sometimes the stress cascades. We carry that stress. The genesis of stress can be anywhere. It could be at home, it could be at office, but sometimes we carry that, and that flows and to all walks, all aspects of our life. We'll talk about that on another day. Today we will talk about anxiety. Yeah, let's go to the next. For those of you who joined us later, I was just sharing that I have a technical glitch today. I can't operate my slides, but no worries. We are not going to stress about it. So I'm just repeating that again. In life, we will have many such situations, but we don't need to be anxious about it. Yeah. Look at this picture today here. I'm sure all of us can identify with this, right? Key work-life stresses. It's both work and at life. Work, it is information overload that we are seeing. There is unclear expectations. Sometimes it is just, not, expectations that are not even communicated properly. So in organization factors, when you look at it, it could be unrealistic deadlines, it could be heavy workloads, it could be just unclear communication. And of late, we are seeing there is a lot of job insecurities that are coming up with this AI that is there. But that's just the organizational factors. At the home front, there is multiple things that you need to manage. And sometimes here we are managing between, work part as well as parenting. There are other tasks that you need to do from home today. And sometimes the boundary is, merged. Sometimes it just flows into the other. You tend to take the stress that is there at work in a meeting that you've had, even if you're working from home, right? If there is some stress in that meeting that has happened, some anxiety is there, and you sort of get out of your office room in your house, cross the threshold, you're into the living room, and that stress is carried there, right? So it's merging of all this. So all of us recognize that this is not something new, and it's only getting worse with the digital overload, the cognitive overload that we are having. However, we can go to the next one. So, however, if you look at it, the different states of mind in a slightly different way. So there is, it's not always a sad part, right? It's not always the bad part of mental status. One is the thriving mode, which is all the positive emotions, high energy, clear focus, strong resilience, all that. And we will talk about how we can come to that stage. And the second part is how we are coping with stress, how we are managing our day-to-day activities, how we are managing, uh, trying to stop the bleed from professional to personal workloads, right? That's one part. Then the other part is actually struggling. We're trying to do it, but we're unable to do it. Right? And that's why we want to sort of learn how we can deal with this. And of course, the crisis mode where it's too overwhelming. That's when you let this be there for some time, then the body starts to get more and more pressure. So when we spoke about the organizational factors, there is also physiological responses that's happening in our body. One small stress, one small anxiety in the office is, there's elevated adrenaline, elevated cortisol. Now, elevated adrenaline is fine. Your body is just trying to, your body is so great, really, right? When there is something that has come up which is stressful, your body learns how to sort of cope with it. The first thing is, of course, that your muscles tighten, your jaws tighten, all this happens. But when you learn by the end of the hour today, there will be some techniques we'll talk about by which you can, reduce that anxiety. But if you let that be for some longer time, then the cortisol, that increases, and it's a sustained high level of that then leads to, impaired prefrontal cortex, impaired, disrupted sleep patterns, and a whole lot of other things. So that's where, there is a challenge. Now let's go to the next one. Before we do all this, it is important that we try and understand our mind. Our mind is very restless. We all know that, don't we? At any given point in time, there are about 50,000 to 60,000 thoughts that's running in our mind all the time. And about 85% of that is invariably negative. So if you look at the left side, this is what it is, right? And these are actual data that is, that has been proved and studied, and people have published this. So the restless mind invariably is the negative mind. That's one part. The other part is the limiting mind, the belief systems, the perceptions that we have. Now, if you look at the picture on the right, you see this elephant tied to the pole. The elephant, when it was a baby elephant, was tied to the pole, and the elephant has grown big, but still the elephant thinks that it cannot escape from that pole. It cannot untie itself from the pole, right? That's the limited mind. That's just an example. A lot of us have such perceptions, such limiting beliefs, such limiting minds. So on one hand, you have these negative thoughts, a lot of thoughts, but 85% of that being negative. And on the other hand, you have this limiting, mind that's telling you that, hey, I can't do this. When you were young, perhaps something was told to you that, for me, people used to say, I can't sing too well, but did it stop me from singing? No, not really. So these are things that, we got to break free from these limited mindsets and these limiting beliefs. And then we will also look at how to, pay attention to the thoughts and how you can truncate those negative thoughts. We'll talk about it soon. Yeah. Thanks. Now, the mind, as we were talking about, which is a lot of it is negative thoughts. The mind is a monkey mind. We are constantly flooded with thoughts, and their thoughts sometimes jump from one thought to the other. And it really gets to you. So when we talk of anxiety, what is it? It is this ruminating thought which goes into a loop, and you keep thinking about it, and you keep ruminating about it, and therefore it becomes very difficult to break that loop. Yeah. The monkey's mind is there. Now, can we really tame this monkey mind? Can we fight the thoughts? Perhaps not, because fighting that really creates, more restrictions. Can we banish them? Again, no. Suppressing it leads to, explosion at some other time, some other place. Something that you suppress will release like a pressure valve somewhere else. Now, for example, if there is some stress at work, something that has happened at work, and you've carried the thought in your head all the time. You've left work, but you've carried that along. It's come on to your commute, to your travel. You're sitting behind the wheel in the car, and that's still playing in your mind. And that sometimes, if you're trying to suppress it, it sort of comes up as a released pressure valve, right? Now look at it. There is some stress and anxiety that's created in the office. You've carried that with you on your commute, and somebody has tried to cut your lane, and that's aggravated you. Now this power which is behind your steering wheel, you're sitting behind the steering wheel and really yelling at people, somebody who's just tried to cut the lane, etc., right? So that stress, that anxiety is compounded, and now you've carried that, and it is cascaded into your house. It's entering your home, your bedroom, it's entering your relationships. You come back after a day, and your family is waiting for you to share what they have done during the day. You're there physically, but you're not there mentally for them. Unfair, right? So yes, so this monkey mind can really wreak havoc in our mind. So, but can we train this monkey mind? Yes, we absolutely can. And meditation helps us when we do that. Yeah. Actually, if I have to take another minute in talking about why I started speaking about monkey mind and the thoughts, is that, uh, you know, with meditation, what will happen by and by, and that's with the sustained practice of meditation, is that you have this ability to sort of read the room. You will have this ability to regulate these annoying thoughts, and many such points, that we'll talk about. One key point that you will hear over and over again, and one key point that you would have heard from other, masters who you've, heard or interacted with, is that thoughts create reality, and that's a fact. Wherever your thought goes, your energy flows there, right? So emotion is basically energy in motion. So there's this continuous motion of energy that is creating events in our lives. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could sort of regulate that energy, regulate that emotion? That's what we're going to talk about as to how do we get around to doing that. Yeah. There is this Heart Math Institute. There's a website. You should go look at that. As you know, heart produces a feeling, and mind creates a thought. Now, the thought energy and the feeling energy, right? There are two different energies there. And then this Heart Math Institute, they found that the feeling energy is much more powerful. So a thought produces, let's say you give it one unit of energy. Let's say the thought produces 1 unit of energy, and emotion, the feeling that comes with a thought, produces at least 5,000 times more energy. So where is this energy going? The energy is following the thought, right? So now you see why it is important to regulate that thought, why it is important that we, and when we learn to regulate it, you'll find that it's so easy to release all those disturbances and come to that bliss state. It's not a utopian thing. It's not something which is difficult to do. With practice, you will see how you're able to come to those ways of handling it. Now, breaking this anxiety loop, this monkey mind and this rumination that I was talking about, there are several ways of doing it, right? Now you can break it by, here are 3 or 4 easy ways to do it. One, of course, and each of this will there is a counter happy hormones that come in. One is, of course, that really works for me. Here I am, friends, sharing with you my 37 years of working life and managing home. So all this, when I was working, was as easy for me. So a little bit of, Neha read out a bit of what my background was. So I can share that a little more with you. So yes, I've been in MNC for 37 years with startups, emerging technologies, large MNCs, very complex organizational structures where I worked in India as well as in Singapore. And all these were, many of it was leadership roles across for Asia Pacific and Japan, working on multi-million dollar opportunities, working with clients and partners and across different countries, different continents, varying culture. And of course, all this I could do successfully and extremely happy and well was also because of great support from family. But while managing all this, was this all hunky dory? Was it, a seamless way of functioning as a human being? Surely not. Surely there were days when it was, one would feel really, really overwhelmed with all this. So that's where I was coming to when I'm talking about how do you break this loop. So one thing that worked for me well is gratitude. So when you catch yourself ruminating, going over that loop of that annoying thought of what somebody did to you yesterday and, or an hour earlier, and how that's building on your anxiety, try and break it. Once you recognize that, break it with these 3 or 4 things. For me, what works very well is gratitude. The minute you come into that, break your thoughts saying that, hey, this is what happened. Like, for instance, if it was, anxiety related to I'm about to present in to, let's say, investors or, a large group of audience, and I'm really anxious and I'm really worried that, hey, my technical thing is not working, I'm not able to present properly. When that is going on, the first thing I do is pause and be grateful. What is your anxious moment now was probably your prayer few months ago, few years ago. You wanted to be in that position where, there were great things working for you. And sometimes it gets overwhelming. Yes. So pause and, be grateful for 2 or 3 things to a few people in your life. It could be a great laptop that you have, or it could be, a great meal that you had, or it could be somebody who's really helped you, your parent, your teacher, your colleague, or your help at home, whatever it is, be grateful for that. The minute there is gratefulness that is coming, the gratitude that comes in, dopamine gets released. Dopamine is one of those happy hormones. And you will feel that, the pulse, the anxiety sort of is reduced a little bit there. You could try, the other ones. Another thing that really works is the box breathing, right? So when we say box breathing, it is to a count of a same number across box, just like a box, right? So it is, if you say, you can close your eyes and do it right now with me. Close our eyes, just shut that for just a minute. And you inhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hold your breath for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you exhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hold your breath for a count of 4. Now, when you do this repeatedly, this also sort of releases, brings on that happy hormone, and it calms you down. So gratitude is one way of cutting that loop, breaking that loop. Box breathing is another. Then, oxytocin is released when you hug somebody. If you're at home working, just a casual hug to a family, or even in the office, right? So, or just a shake of hands, or acknowledging somebody that or just looking at pictures, old photographs, or just laughing. These are all different ways where you could look at a reel today and break your anxiety loop, right? That's the easiest way of doing it. And of course, serotonin gets released when you're doing some kind of exercise. I mentioned about laughing, endorphin gets released then, yes. Now, all this can break the cycle. That's fine. But this might come back to you again after some time. So is there a sustained way of breaking this anxiety cycle? And I would say yes. that comes with meditation. Meditation is one thing that stops the rumination loop. It's a tested way, dear friends. So, have full faith in that. Yeah. Now let's look at what meditation can do and what. So when I started meditating some years ago, many people would say that, why are you doing this now? You're not so old. You usually do it when you retire. Or, do you have some serious problems? Is something bothering you? So typically we think that meditation is meant for people who are old and retired, who have all the time in the world. Or we think that it is for people who are broken, who are unwell, physically very, got migraines or whatever, physically ailing, or for that matter, people with only, anxious and stressful and depressed and all that. Or sometimes we say that, oh, this is just for spiritual practitioners. I'm not down that road yet, right? And you don't want to try your hand because, no, you don't want to get there. So these are some of the points that I've listed, and there are many where people say that this is not for everyone. This is not for me. But frankly, meditation is for everyone. Anyone who wants to connect with their self-development, their consciousness, be conscientious, meditation helps in that. It's these days, discriminating between right and wrong. Sometimes there's a blurred line, right? Between right and wrong. Now, the mind is so powerful that even if you're doing a wrong thing, you can convince yourself that, no, I'm doing the right thing. That's okay, right? Meditation sort of brings out that power in you where you can actually discriminate the right and wrong very well, which is why I said the conscientious way, the integrity that you will build in your day-to-day life. We're all born with that. We're all born very morally high, with high integrity, very conscientious people. But somewhere along the way, in the rush and of this trying to keep pace with this race that's going on, we tend to that's where it becomes a little blurred. And so meditation definitely helps. It has helped me. So very proud of that. And of course, if you want greater experiences of life, life is all about experience, right? And we'll talk when we actually do the meditation, we will talk about how this really helps. Yeah. Okay. Now let's look at what is meditation. I want to demystify this a little bit. So many times people say that, this is religion based or, so things like that. So meditation is very, very scientific. And there is evidence based and, peer reviewed reports and papers that have been written. And we'll talk about it. You'll see a video later. So don't go away anywhere, right? Okay, stay through this. We're going to show you a video of this neuroscientist from Harvard University. She was a professor there. She is Dr. Sarah Laser. She's talked about it, and we'll talk about it more. Meditation is also the cessation of thoughts, the stopping of thoughts. It is with that you will be able to access that peaceful space between your thoughts. Remember, we were talking of breaking that cycle, breaking that loop. You'll be able to do that. It is also a process to go within and reassess, to explore all that limitless potential that is there. If you look at the picture on the right, now this is from, when I mentioned about Sarah Laser's part, that is the neuroscience part of it. But if you look at the picture on the right, we'll talk a little bit about quantum physics here. In quantum physics, it is said that the entire universe, we are like 99.9999 and actually 59% energy and very less of matter. Okay. Now, if you actually even break down your body into different cells, so body is made up of cells, cells are made up of molecules, molecules are made up of atoms, and protons and electrons, it's all energy, right, at the end of it. So everything is about energy, and we are talking about experiencing this life as an energy body, right? So when you do meditate, you will be able to, that's the beauty of this, the whole thing is about a way of connecting to this quantum field. And it's not just connecting to the quantum field, it is the intelligence that is surrounding in this quantum field. You'll be able to connect with that. And that is when people talk about manifestation, they talk about, how whatever they thought of is happening. All this comes with meditation. Yeah. Now, let's look at what meditation is not. Yeah. So if you look at this, so meditation is not about mind control. It's not self-hypnosis. It's not chanting of mantras, right? It is not a religious practice or a cult that you're getting it. Like I said, it's all very scientifically proven, the benefits of meditation. So meditation certainly is not any of these things. So meditation is simply the practice of watching our mind gently without judgment. Yeah, that's what it is. And now we will also look at maybe practice a little bit of meditation, and then we're going to come back and talk about neuroscience, talk about how it's affecting our brain. We'll hear Dr. Sarah Laser talking about it. Incidentally, Dr. Sarah Laser was there. There was a global meditation conference that was held at Padmantapam in India a couple of months ago, and she had logged in from Harvard, and she shared with a large audience on the science-based, neuroscience-based benefits of meditation and yoga. So clearly there is a lot of benefits. So we'll talk about it, so don't go away anywhere. Now, if you've brought your headphones, do put them on, and we'll get into meditation. Now, why this worked for me, so from a personal experience, I can tell you that I did try many things. There was, different kinds of meditation that is there out today. And there's nothing right or wrong about any particular technique, but what works for me and what is really simple is this particular breath meditation is the simplest form I've figured, because in this, all that you're going to do is sit and observe your breath. So we will talk about it. So in order to practice this, let's practice the postures that you sit on a chair, as is shown in the picture, on a sofa. If you want to sit down and cross-legged, that's fine. But a lot of us can't do that. So it's okay. We can sit on the chair. We clasp our hands together, fingers into fingers, and we rest it gently on our lap, and cross your feet also. This is just, closing the energy cycle. It's a circuit that, you're just closing. That's about it. The process is very simple. We'll play gentle music. There will be guided meditation. You can follow the guidance, but essentially it is just observing your natural breath, just the inhaling of your breath and the exhalation. So you can pick either the tip of your nose, or the beginning of your nose, or any part of, where you will observe that breath, inhaling and exhaling. Now just follow the breath. When we say observe the breath, just notice the breath. There is no deep inhalation and exhalation. This is not pranayama or any kind of that kind of yoga. So it's just observation of your natural breath, just noticing it. Yeah. So now, while doing that, there will be thoughts in your mind. Like I said, remember we spoke about the monkey mind. So thoughts will be there. There will be one thought to the other. There will be jumping of, different thoughts going on in your head. But every time you recognize that there is a thought, you acknowledge, you're cognizant of the fact that there is a thought. Hey, I'm thinking about this. Bring your attention back to breath. Simple. So we're going to just shut our eyes. If you're wearing glasses, please take it off. And if you're wearing smart watches, it's also good to take that out. because you don't want alerts and things like that bothering you, you can turn your phone off too and just sit and close your eyes. Okay. Just observe your breath.
Let's go into breath mindfulness meditation. With your fingers into fingers, hands comfortably in your lap, observe your normal, natural in-breath and the out-breath, dear friends. Our goal is to empty the mind. Our goal is to merge into this greater emptiness, that energy, the consciousness. When we observe our breath, the mind becomes empty. We are going into powerful group meditation. Allow yourself to merge into your breath and allow yourself to merge into that emptiness inside of you, all around you. Allow yourself to merge into the emptiness of no body, of nothing, as you became one with your breath. Become aware of this emptiness, that energy, that consciousness. Spreading far and wide. Allow yourself to experience that emptiness, that blackness, this void, spreading far and wide beyond your body, beyond your room, stretching into the edges of this universe. Sense it, connect with it. That's energy. all emptiness is energy. That unlimited quantum energy field of infinite possibilities. The longer we stay aware of it, the more we are less matter, more emptiness and energy. Allow yourself to stay away from your body, to stay away from your life, and allow yourself to unfold as pure awareness. If you find yourself distracted in thought, go back to observing your breath, dear friends, and slowly find that emptiness. deeper and deeper into this emptiness of yourself. Your greater intelligence. Friends, it's an honor and privilege to be living this life at this time of history. Express gratitude to all things and everybody for this beautiful life. To your parents, your teachers, to all the people in your life, your family, friends, colleagues, to the nature, to everything you use, to the technology, to the systems, to yourself, to this intelligent universe. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. Slowly bring your awareness back to your whole new body, to your whole new future and time. Feeling with certainty that your new future is unfolding for you from this very moment. Recollect your experiences from the session, and whenever you are ready, you may open your eyes.
How was the experience? Blissful. Broke the anxiety, breaks the stress. The technique is so simple that it is so easy to follow this. You don't need a prop. You don't need to chant anything aloud anywhere. You don't need a candle. You don't need to light a lamp or any sound. Once you get into the practice of this, you probably will not need guidance also. Guidance is important in the initial stages. It helps you in bringing your attention back to your breath. Now, during this course of, I think we meditated for about 21 minutes. During the course of meditation, sometimes there are different experiences. Some people see colors, some people have this, slight movement in their body. Sometimes you feel a very heavy weight on your shoulders or strong headache or back is hurting. Sometimes it's just nothing at all. It's just that emptiness and that blackness. Now, there is nothing right and wrong here. There is no one experience that is similar to all. Each one has their own different kind of experience. The best thing about meditation is that this particular one, like I said, is a simple. It's literally ATM, anytime meditation. If you're traveling from one place to the other, and if you're not in the driver's seat, you can sit behind in the traffic and just meditate and not worry about, is the driver taking me to the right place? Is he turning the right way? In most cases, of course, you have to be careful, yes. But the point is, this can be done anywhere, anytime. Some people find it great to meditate in the morning. So what is the time for meditation? It can be any time, like I said. But since if you do it first thing in the morning, because you've already been in that sleep state, it's easier to blank out. Sometimes it is good to do just before you go to bed. Now, again, if your day has been very active and if you've been caught in that rumination loop, sometimes it's difficult to sit quietly and observe your breath. So at such times, it's good to do your gratitude and then get into meditation, because like I said, the minute you can do gratitude before, after, but when you do it before, it sort of brings you to that calmer level and it's simpler to sit for meditation. Yeah, so the technique is great. Now let's look at what happens in a meditative brain. Now, this again is with sustained practice of meditation. Now, many a times people say that, hey, I sat for meditation, nothing really happened to me. And, sometimes, like I said, the thoughts come and you get distracted and you get restless, that I don't find any benefit. I did it for, 2-3 days and nothing happened. But the reality is that you got to practice. Now, somebody who wants to excel in something, nothing happens in a day, right? You got to keep practicing that. So there's nothing different here. So please do continue and give it a shot. Do it for a period of time. Do it for, they say for any habit to build, you need to do it at least for 21 days. 6 weeks is what we say, that it really builds as a practice. And once you've got onto that, you will see benefits coming over a period of time. It could be, something that you've been struggling to find a solution to and it'll come out of the blue. It could be that promotion that you weren't expecting at all. So it shows up in different ways. And the best part of all this, and don't expect it. Don't say, hey, I did it and nothing is happening. Don't expect it. It just comes in unexpected ways. But like I said, the best part is that you are able to observe your thought without judging. Now, meditation, before we go into the neuroscience of it, is not just about sitting quietly and meditating. There's a whole process to it. It's great when you start reading about it. Wisdom is a important part of growth, right? Knowledge is, learning is. Now, sometimes we learn, we read, there is a lot of knowledge out there, but how does that knowledge translate to wisdom? How are you able to sort of implement it in your day-to-day life? That's important, right? But yes, read. Maybe in chat we'll put what are the books you can read. The one that I was talking about, Quantum Field, etc. That's Mind and Matter. Dawson Church, it's a very good book. Conversations with God is a great book. Another very simple book is called Four Agreements, which basically talks about how you should be impeccable with your words. Very simple agreements, simple, nothing that we don't know. But when you start implementing it in your day-to-day life, you see how things get better along with meditation, right? So one is, of course, so be impeccable with your words. Two, don't judge. Don't sit on the judgment seat or the judge chair. Third is don't assume anything. And the fourth agreement with yourself is do your best. Very simple, right? But practice it along with meditation and you will see how life improves. Transformation is bound to happen. You have to give it a shot. So now let's look at what happens in the meditative brain. So the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain, the conscious brain, that grows, the gray matter grows. This is again proven in by neuroscientists, and they say that there are papers, and a lot of it is there online, which you can go and see. So with meditation, what happens is the brain sort of gray matter grows. The second part, as you can see on the picture on the right side, the second part is the hippocampus. The hippocampus is your so-called, is for your memory. Your memory starts improving. Whatever you're learning, whatever you're reading, there is more retention of that. The spatial reasoning, all this starts developing as you start meditating. Yeah. The last and the best part is a tiny little thing that you see on the brain on the right side, the amygdala. Amygdala is your fear center. Now this amygdala starts shrinking. There's less fear activity. There's lower anxiety. So this whole topic that we're talking about today, how do you break anxiety? How do you lower anxiety? How do you let anxiety vanish? When you start meditating, that amygdala really shrinks. In fact, in the next slide, you'll be able to see what happens to the amygdala. So with practice, meditation shrinks, like I said. When you look at the overactive amygdala, when you don't practice meditation, there is constant threat detection is going on in your brain. It sort of hijacks the rational thinking. Sometimes, when I say about this fear and this anxiety and all that, all comes from some incident that has happened in your life earlier. So it's an accumulated thing, right? Now, if I take an office example, you've probably worked with a manager who was not very kind to you, and you really don't like that person, he or she. And when you meet that person, your body really cringes, right? You really don't like it. Could be anybody. Forget the office experience. It could be some uncle, it could be a relative, it could be this annoying sibling, it could be an annoying cousin, it could be anybody. But when you see that person, your body kind of, cringes and you don't like it. There is this something, anxiety builds up because somebody said something at some point and it bothered you, right? You may have forgotten about that incident, but when you see that person, it comes back to you, right? And now that person would have probably has left the office and gone and joined something else, but you may see him somewhere else. Maybe you've joined another organization and it happened to meet the same person. And immediately your body kind of cringes. Okay? Now with the practice of meditation, and there is some fear that comes out. So with the practice of meditation, again, another example is that you're traveling alone. Maybe you are scared of traveling. You have this fear of traveling. You have this anxiety, the pit in your stomach pit is like churning, and it could be when you're taking flights or anything, right? With the practice of meditation, that amygdala shrinks and that fear goes away. Yeah. So friends, do practice. There are ways and tools of a sustained practice. We'll talk about it. Yeah. The next one, please. So this is what I was talking about, right? So Harvard has, proven, they have many papers written about this, and neuroscientists from there confirms that meditation builds a bigger, stronger prefrontal cortex. My memory used to be quite fading in and out. And given I'm 63 years old now, so I guess people will say, oh, you're growing old, so that's bound to happen. But not really. When you meditate, you find that, the retention power does improve. So Dr. Sarah Lazar, she's done this landmark study that proves that your gray matter grows at least by 25%. It thickens. But that is with, sustained practice of meditation. Yeah, so you've got to give it time. As I mentioned to you, Sarah Lazar did present in one of our global meditation conference, which happened a couple of months ago. And we have a video from her that I'd like to play for you.
This phrase so many times, meditation completely changed my life. Yoga completely changed my life. And it did. That's what happened to me. It was, like I said, it was just, I saw the world in a whole new way, and I couldn't explain it. But I knew that something in my brain had changed, and that I was seeing the world in a new way. And so I really wanted to do research on the brain. We wondered because, people very quickly report changes after just a few weeks. And there had been some research on something called MBSR, which stands for Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, which is a secular 8-week program that combines mindfulness meditation and very slow hatha yoga with a little bit of health education and psychoeducation about stress. And it was highly effective for reducing stress, anxiety, depression. And so we wondered, could it change the brain? And the shorter answer is yes. People either went through this 8-week program, or we just scanned them 8 weeks apart. And what we found is that compared to the control group, there were several brain regions where there was more gray matter in the meditation and yoga group compared to the controls. We also found, though, that this part of the brain, which is the amygdala, got smaller. The amygdala is, you often hear about fight, flight, or freeze. The amygdala is the part of the brain that's all about that decision making. It's turned on in anxiety, it's turned on in arousal in general. And what we found is that the change in this brain region correlated with stress. So the smaller it became, the more stress reduction people reported. And this was important because up until this point, a lot of people said, well, it's been 2 months. Of course their stress is gone, right? Or if they paid a lot of money for this program, so, they're invested in making it work. But this really suggested that no, their stress was related to a change in their brain. We also found this brain region here in the brainstem. This is the area where serotonin and dopamine is produced. We didn't measure those molecules. They're produced but also regulated there. And we found that this change correlated with well-being. So the more this changed, the more people said that they felt satisfied with their life, even though nothing had changed in their life. And so it suggests, again, that somehow meditation is altering these molecules, and that this is how it works. And so it's both good for reducing stress by turning down the fear and anxiety part of the brain and turning up the well-being part of the brain.
There you go. Clear proof that it works, right? So don't give up. So please do continue. Sarah Lazar has been at it for a long, long time. So when you meditate, other than what is happening in your brain, meditation is very, very holistic. So the first thing that you'll start noticing with meditation immediately is all the physical benefits that you would get. So the PQ part of it, the physical quotient, right? So people who, like I said, had migraine or some ache or something physical in their body, they find there is change in it quickly, including people with arthritis and very serious ones also. What happens is the mind is talking to, so the mind body connection is again a great thing. And there is again another book on that, The Biology of Belief. And this is something that I've observed in my own self. So a few months back, I had broken my or dislocated my shoulder with multiple fractures. Now, when that happens, as they say, pain is inevitable, but suffering need not be, right? When that happened, with meditation, there is a communication that goes on between the mind and the body. Another great book, incidentally, is You Are the Placebo, by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Please do, if you do get your hands on it, that's a great book to read too. So with meditation, you can actually heal your body, heal your mind of anxiety, all that. So the physical quotient, there is within 2-3 weeks, you'll start seeing that difference. The IQ, of course, needless to say, improves. But the important thing is the emotional quotient part of it. EQ improves drastically when you're working in an organization. Then, sometimes when your manager is giving you a feedback, you tend to be very hypersensitive about it. You're like, why is he telling me these things all the time? And why is he micromanaging me, etc.? And then there is a bit of trust that erodes between you and the manager, and parallelly sometimes with your colleagues too, especially in large multinationals with complex matrixed organization. Cross-functional teams working together is always a bit of a challenge. With meditation, we found that people tend to collaborate better. You're more empathetic towards the other person's role, designation, function, etc. So your emotional quotient definitely improves. Then, of course, comes the manifestation quotient. Manifestation in itself is such a deep subject, and there are very clear 5 sutras, as we call it, principles of meditation, of manifestation. It works. So again, on a personal level, I just wanted to share that in my career growth, and being in these large MNCs, sometimes, there is with MNC large organizations, and now it's happening in a lot of organizations, right? There is always restructuring of the organization that goes on. And therefore, with that, certain jobs get redundant. So every year in these organizations say, hey, do I have a job or not? Do I, really have it or not? Now, that's where the anxiety factor also comes in, by the way, because you're constantly worried about your security of your job. Now, with meditation, the power of manifestation that comes, and which really helped me, is that I could manifest what role I wanted, what designation, what salary bandwidth. Yeah, believe it or not, yes. These things have worked. I'm not saying it in a lighter sense. This is really, really powerful when you get to it. Yeah. So your MQ, manifestation quotient, definitely improves, and SQ, which is the social quotient, also improves. So when I say social quotient, it's about the purpose. You've heard of Ikigai, right? So a lot of things align, and you really find your purpose. It doesn't necessarily need to be something larger than life, right? But simple things. There's clarity. There's focus that comes on that. So in all your quotients, and nowadays there is something called as AQ, which is your awareness quotient, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But as you can see in the in the table part there, so your old self, if you are stressed, your new self is actually a little joyous self. And all those points that you see on the left, there's transformation that happens on the right. Now, if first thing that is your individual transformation as an individual. Now, if you're working in a workplace, then, if you're a leader, then clearly there is a way where your team begins to see that. And if you're at home, your family begins to see that, your children, your siblings, your spouse and partner and everybody, they'll see the difference. They'll see the change that's happening in you. So you transform first, and then, the team and the others also do. Like I said, for a leader these days, it's very important. I think that's what is going to be the measure as we move forward, because it's no longer just your skills. It's no longer about how you can manage people at work, but it is how you lead with, in a holistic way. These days, I've noticed working in startups that even investors, VCs, look for whether you have that stability to see your startup through. It's so important to have that balance in mind, right? So meditation is very, like I said, even for people who are in their younger age. Now we've seen there is a youth program that we have going on. Amazing how these youngsters are really taking to it. Yeah. So that's one. And the next slide, we'll talk about this awareness intelligence, this new AQ that I was talking about, right? So in this era of artificial intelligence, there is awareness intelligence. With meditation comes this AI, which is awareness intelligence. And that's the original AI that is within you, right? It has always been inside you. So before all these algorithms and machines and all that came, humans were already wired in profound intelligence, right? If you look at the caveman theory, etc., their radars were up there, they were very alert, very high, really profound intelligence was there. But somewhere along the line, the dependency on many other tools, etc., we've forgotten that. So awareness intelligence is one of those important tools that is there with you, with the practice of meditation that gets sharpened, that gets honed better. Yeah. So therefore, this awareness is the ability to observe your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, and, without being ruled by them, right? And the intelligence is choosing a conscious, deliberate response. Now, as you heard Sarah speak, Dr. Sarah was mentioning about the fight or flight mode. So it's reaction and response. When an event has happened, are you reacting to that, or are you really responding to that? So there's this pause between that event and your response, right? You can be more collective about your thoughts and your response. That comes with practice, and meditation really helps in that. So meditation is a practice that activates, that hones your awareness intelligence. So friends, what are we waiting for? We should really get there, right? And practice and sustain it. So the next one is our journey. Today we spoke about it. We started with our journey on, on awareness. So on anxiety, actually. So the anxious part, the restless part, how we can move from there to the being aware, then getting into accepting, being non-judgmental, being open to many possibilities, right? All that. And then, of course, is aligning with your core, the purpose, grounded, being more authentic, etc. So this journey is not linear. It requires daily practice, and every moment is a starting point. So don't wait for it. Don't think that, I don't need to do it today, I'll do it later. So start with it. What are you waiting for, right? Okay, now how do you sustain the practice? I have just one slide, but there's a detailed discussion on this. We'll talk about it in some other session. But we have a tool, which is an app, which is called Be Supermind. It's a very loaded app. It's got several beautiful features in it, where we talk about, so the app has programs, the app has, meditation tracks, it has several features. So it has self-paced programs, it has a chat with a Sage, which is an AI based. So you can ask it, hey, what's my posture? Am I sitting right? Or there's a mood tracker. I'm feeling pretty low today. So it will sort of take you to, you can track your mood every day, and your progress. You track your progress on, you meditate for so many hours and whatever. So there's, you can write notes to yourself. There's Mind Movie, which is a beautiful way of actually manifesting things. You actually create a mind movie. So all that is there in the app. Like I said, it's a great intense app. Please, you can download it. For those of you who will be joining us for a workshop later, there's free subscription. But and in case you want to download and get free subscription, do get in touch with us. There is a slide where we talk about, I think the next one, where you can contact us. Yes, so let us be part of your transformation journey. So that's our website, and you can reach out to us on info@besupermind.com. And please feel free to get back to us. If there's any questions, we are happy to take that now. We are way over the hour, sorry about that. And hopefully you all have had good dinner. And hopefully dinner is for people who are in this part of the world, but it's a morning for a lot of you in the US. I hope you have a great day. But if there's any questions, we can take that. And for those of you who want to log off, you're welcome to log off. Great having you all here. See you next time. We're going to talk about other forms of how we move with meditation. How do you move from transform or, go from being lonely to enjoying your solitude. So these are things that some subjects and some topics will be coming up with. To join us then too. There is International Mindfulness Day coming up. So my point is, if you start meditating now, you'll be able to appreciate that better. Yeah, thank you. Yes, somebody had a question? Thank you. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed the session. Sure, please, please, Ashish Grover, please share your experience for meditation. Go ahead, Ashish. Yeah, thank you for volunteering to speak here. Hi.
Yeah. So I got to know about your program from uh, Buddha CEO platform.
Okay.
So first time I joined them in one of the sessions, and it's a 40-day session in which I joined and attended around 11 to 12 classes. Otherwise, I'm practicing on a daily basis whenever I get time, half an hour of session of meditation. And exactly the way you have taught us in this class, uh, focus on breathing, and the experience is amazing, right?
Yes.
I'm into a sales job, into an IT company, and
Okay.
There's always a fear when you step into your commit calls, right?
Yes.
So that has gone off. I prepare whatever I have. I don't worry about what's going to happen next because it's not in something which is in my hands. So that fear is going off slowly and gradually. It's like you want to walk on grass or a park, but you're worried that something can, you know, injure your feet. It's that kind of experience right now. Otherwise, it's a very good practice to calm yourself, your thoughts. And the good part is, whenever there's something coming up, people can simply focus on their breath, close their eyes, and immediately it will, help you to take a good decision if they want to, take some decision then and there. Or if you are getting anxious, it will go off your anxiety then and there. So it's that powerful. Thank you for bringing this up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ashish, for sharing this. And incidentally, my experience has also been with sales, and I was so happy to hear your part because in sales, especially when you're coming to your month end and quarter end, and you have so much of target to meet, and sometimes you're nowhere close to the target. But with meditation, I used to notice that when I'd go into a meeting and there was a role where different countries from Asia Pacific was reporting into me, and of course I had to carry that number to worldwide. And somewhere, even if I'm closer to the number and I've not met the target, but with meditation, believe you me, somewhere something would come and compensate for those numbers, and somewhere you met the target then. And also the confidence that you get, Ashish, when you're talking to your clients, because you're coming in from the depth of and the intent of actually helping the client. So even when you work with your partners, your channel partners, your alliance partners and all, the objective is that the product that you're taking, let's say if you're working for an infrastructure hardware company and there is somebody who's from the services company, you're coming together as partners to, translate that advantage, give that advantage to your client. So meditation, like I said, is brings out all those conscientious ways of living our life, both at professionally and personally. Thank you for sharing. Where are you based, Ashish?
I'm based out of Delhi.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining us really this late.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, then we can wrap up. Thank you, everybody. It was great being here, and we'll share more in the days to come. Thank you.